In this video, we are going to look how to go about playing around with certain indicators. So just before I go over the instructions, let's take a look at some useful links. So this link is going to take us to this particular, here we go, it's going to bring us here. Here the World Bank has arranged some world development indicators into special teams. So you have these 6 data teams: poverty and inequality, people, environment, economy, and so on. Now, if you click here, for example, you'll see that environmental issues are arranged into certain teams. So I'll just scroll down. You can base your paper on agriculture, then you have indicators. 4 indicators you can use to play around: climate, energy and mining, environment, urban and rural development, and so on. So they've helped you to organize things so that indicators are not just confusing. So in this exercise, what we plan to do is to take a few of the indicators under climate. For example, if you want to write a sustainable development paper, or you want to look at sustainability issues from the perspective of climate change, you can focus on CO2 emissions. We'll just take one of these, the PM 2.5 exposure, and we'll also take the precipitation. So when we choose these indicators, you can take all 4 of them or just 3 of them. In this exercise, we want to see how to come to this website, what we've been doing in class, and download it. So how do we go about doing that? Let me go back to our instruction. So this is where we will go to download our data. It's the page we've been using in class. It's this one. So this link will take you to where the data teams are. This other link will take you to what we've been doing in class. So the instructions, what does it say? It says in this exercise, we will explore key environmental indicators and their economic implications. We will focus on CO2, PM 2.5, and air precipitation depth. Now it says understanding the data. Before we create charts, let's understand what these terms mean. Now if you read, I've given you a short summary of what each of them mean and their implications. For example, average precipitation depth. This measures the amount of rainfall a country or region receives. Changes in precipitation patterns can impact agriculture, water supply, and economic stability. So that's just an example. Now you can go further for each of these things. You can look, for example, at the economic, the environmental, and the social implications of changes in CO2. You can do the same for the particulate matter and the same for precipitation. Look at the economic impacts, the social impact, and the environmental impacts of changes. This simply helps you to write your paper from different perspectives, focusing on these indicators. That's why I said you can choose, you can just come here, choose any of these things and focus on it. Now every week I will be giving you such an exercise where we will choose a particular set of indicators under a data team. You will see me go and get the data, and I will ask you to do the same, so that even if you choose one, you are still comfortable getting data for all the other ones and familiarizing yourself. So in the instructions, the main thing is here. When you download the data, the idea is that you put out, it says, create a simple chart for each of the 3 indicators: CO2, PM, and precipitation. So we are going to go and get the data, clean the data, take it into Excel, plot it, and what we basically want to do is to look at it's changing across time, and we should be able to choose a couple of countries so that we can compare their performance for each of these indicators. That's all what we have to do, and you have to try to see how you can interpret this. For example, it says it's trying to give you an idea. High emissions may indicate economic growth, but also come with environmental costs like blah blah blah. Okay, so this is just an example how you can approach it, but you need to go a bit more than that. Now, what do we have here? Submission, the charts you created. So the charts you created here should be part of what you will submit next class, and try to comment on the charts as you understand and give a discussion. Okay, try to give a discussion related to the findings of the chart. Now, it's important to know, I ask you to do this, you'll submit it for some points, but the real idea is for you to develop an understanding how to do this for your sustainable development paper. Now, let's get going. I've already opened this page, this web link, so you should do the same, and let's go and get the data and play with it. So here we go. What we will do is, if you remember, we did say you have 4 things you have to play with. The first is database. Choose well development indicators. That's the one we will be using. The next one is country. We are going to take all countries. And here we go. Actually, we could make life easy for ourselves here by choosing I'll just take Canada and another country. Okay, I'll uncheck everything here. I'll click on X. Canada, I'll go to C, and here we go. I'll take USA. I'll go to U, or I'll take UK. Let's see, United Kingdom, and maybe let's put Germany. Germany. So you can see we've selected 3 countries. I'll toggle that, the series. What do we want? The first thing we want CO2. So I'll come here and I'll just type CO2. I'll hit enter and scroll. This is what I want. I want this particular CO2 excluding blah blah blah. Now the next thing we want, let me get rid of the search. I now want to do particulate matter, PM. I'll hit enter and let's see. So here we go. I want this particular particulate matter, the mean annual exposure of particulate matter. I'll click there and I'll come here. I'll click X to get rid of that. I now want precipitation. Precipitation. Hit enter. Here we go. Choose it. Make sure you've chosen those 3 indicators. Toggle that. Time. I want all the time available, so I'll click on this checkbox and here we go. So I'll click on apply changes. It's applying it. Here. That's it. Now I want to download my data. Click the drop down, take Excel, and it has downloaded it. So all I have to do is to open a blank Excel workbook, and we'll do exactly what we've been doing with the other one. So I'll click there to open the blank Excel workbook, go to data, get data, file, and click Excel. I know it downloaded it in my download folder. So I encourage you, if your computer is not doing the right thing, just use the computers at the college. So this is what I want. I think so. That's it. I am sure that is it. I'll click on import and it's going to enable me to take it into Power Query and do the data cleaning I need to do. I'll click on data. Let's see. Okay, we have CO2, PM2, average precipitation. Fine, this is what we want. I'll click on transform data. That's going to launch Power Query, and we have to be careful now because this is one of the most important parts where we get to clean the data. Now, there are certain things we don't need. For example, you can see we want to keep the first, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. From the ninth, we don't want, because you have nulls and you have things you don't need. We want to get rid of this. So after the ninth row, we want to get rid of those things there. So for that, so what we are going to do, just come right here. You see where you have that box, not here, there. You click on that icon, and we want to keep the first 9 rows. So here you see keep top rows. So I'll click on keep top rows, and it's going to give me the ability to choose the number of rows. I want to keep the first 9 rows, so I'm going to type 9, and I'll click on OK, and it has gotten rid of the other ones. Now, I don't want to keep country code. I'll click on it and hit delete on my keyboard, or just right click and take remove. Now, I want to keep this and flip it later on. These ones I don't want to keep. I'll get rid of that. And here it's interesting because you can see it's not in the shape we want. So we want to unpivot such columns. So I'll come and select country, hold down your shift key, click on that. So we select these two. Then we want to unpivot all the rest. So I will right click anywhere on top of this after selecting both of them. Right click, and here you want to unpivot other columns. It's important to really follow what I'm saying. So if I click on pivot other columns, here we go. So we now have year value. I'll come, double click where we have year, give it a name year. Oh yes, hit enter. I want to get rid of this part here and just keep the date. So we want to keep 4. So go to transform, click on transform. We are looking for extract. Go to extract, click on extract, first characters, and we want to keep the first 4 characters. Okay, and that's it. So now we want to change this into date format. I'll click the icon, I'll choose date, and here we go with date. Now when I come here, I see that we have some strange numbers here. I will first change those numbers before I do anything I have to do. So make sure you select the column, make sure you are under transform. We want to replace value. I'll click the drop down, I'll put the values there. So it's 2 period, and I want to replace it with nothing. So I'll leave replace with empty, click there, it's gone. Now I can come and change the data type. I can click here and take decimal. Now it's very important, if you are using a French computer, you may end up having virgule here, so it may not work. Use an English version, use the computers at the college. Okay, now we have all what we need. We have the years, we have the value, we have the series. I'll just double click here and put indicator. And hit enter. So we have the indicators. If you click this drop down here, you can see the different indicators. You have precipitation, you have CO2, you have the particulate matter. Okay, it's true the names are pretty long, but it's okay, we'll survive. So you see what's there. Now let's go to Excel. Go to home, click close and load to, close and load to, and there we go. So this is a data set. Now what I will do, I'll save a copy, post it on layer for those who cannot get to this point, so that in case you are stuck, you still have something to work with. So I'll just save a copy of that data set so that I can share with students. Okay, fine. Now if you have gotten to this point, you are fine. Let's try to complete it. Click anywhere inside your data, go to insert, pivot table. I'll take from table range, and I'll just say okay. There we go. Now I want value. I'll take the values, I'll place it where we have values. I don't want sum, I want average. I'll click on sum, click on value field settings, take average, click on number format, take number, make sure we have 2 decimal places, okay, and okay. Now what we want to do, given that we want to compare things by countries, you'll take country name, put it where you have columns. You'll take years, put it where you have rows. Now the next step is very important. You have to now go to Insert Slicer. Make sure you are under Pivot Table Analyze. Click on Insert Slicer. Now you want to take country name and indicator, then OK. So these are your slicers. My screen is very large, so depending on the size of your screen, adjust it as you see fit. So I'll put this here. I'll click there, increase it a bit this way so that I can read the title of the indicator, and I'll put it there, and I'll come back and click inside my table. When I click there, I can generate the charts. So I'll go to Pivot Table Analyze. I'll click on Pivot Chart. I want to use line. I'll click on line and I'll OK. Now there we go. I'll increase the size. And for you, it's important that you are able to put a title and label the axis. So go to Design. Under Design, you can go to Quick Layout, and you can take the last one, which is basically Layout 10. So I'll click on it. Now you see the different countries. However, we don't know which indicator we are looking at. Now to look at average precipitation, you just click here on the slicer for average precipitation. Then you can see what's happening across time. So it's as if there's really been no change. Okay, you just see, look with me. If I take Canada, I click on Canada, it seems to be constant, Germany and United Kingdom. So I'll let you decide. Since 1960 to this particular period, that is the data for average precipitation. You make your conclusions. Now we will click here where you have the red X to clear the filter so that you can compare those countries. You can see where we have more rainfall, and you can also see what's going on across time. Okay, the next thing you also want to do is to click on CO2. So this is your first chart basically. If I were you, I will right click on the chart, copy it, open a blank Word document, and then paste it in it. So if I paste it there, I want to make sure I'm using a picture so that when I change things in my Excel document, it doesn't affect what I have here. Okay, so here we go. I'll click there so that I can move it. Now, there's something I did not do in this document that it's important for you to do. For yours, let me click here. Once you choose this particular thing, it's important you give a chart title, and it's important you label your axis, time or year, and it's important you label things. Okay, so you have average precipitation, you can put it there. The next one is CO2. So if you click, you can see what's going on to the amount of CO2 released in these countries, which country is releasing the most, what's going on across time. You can clearly see that. And of course, now you need to adjust the titles you have, copy it. You do Control C, bring it in your Word document, paste it, and then choose something that will enable you be able to manipulate it. Then go back to your Excel. Now you take the PM2. This is what's happening with PM2. It seems to be going down across countries. However, you still see that Germany comes first, UK, then Canada. And you can also copy the chart. Actually, if you want, you can adjust this timeline so that it's not so long. Now, what's the best way of doing that? If you simply go to where we have years, if you want, for this particular one, you can uncheck the years you don't want. Okay. and only put the years you want. So if I see that it's still 1990, then I can come and just select only the ones that take me to 1990 and get rid of the ones I don't want. That will just make my chart look a lot better. Now we are using this technique, but we could also have used a timeline to achieve the same thing we are achieving right now. This is a bit of torture, but it will still do the job because you are doing so many clicks. Just don't skip anything. So here I go. If I do that, we have a chart that looks like that. This is much better. I can copy it and come here and paste it. Okay, now you can see that because I did not put this as a picture, when I change things there, you can see how it has affected this. So it's important when you put your chart here, make sure you put it as a picture. Else, when you make changes, it's going to come and mess up things you have in your Word document. Okay, so now that I've put this as a picture, I'll go back and change this so that my things are not messed up. Okay, let's just make sure we move things to their proper place. I'll take something like this. Fix position, move it down. Okay, this one, we want to adjust this back to what we had. It's CO2. So if we come here, we will see it change. So we have that, we have CO2 and we have the particulate matter. So this one, it means it's important for you to change. Basically, this needs to be deleted, copy it again and paste it as. So if you even come here, you can see how to paste it. You can paste it as an image and that will do the job. If you paste it as an image or something else that doesn't run away, you will have something like that. So based on this, you can now interpret it, because if you come back to the instructions, it's just the charts you've created, blah, 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 and then you can go around talking. So from the perspective of sustainable development, you can see the variations. You can see that, okay, precipitation has not changed across time. What can you say? This is CO2, particulate matter, what's going on across time. As I said in class, use any material that will help you write something that is nice. So even for this, use any technology that is out there that will enable you to do a great job with no restrictions. Okay, so basically this is the end of my chat. I'll see you in class.